Here's the tricky thing about figuring out what other people want.
All right.
People want everything. Okay. So think of the economic values that we just talked about, the 9 major ones. Imagine you have an offering that you're trying to test.
Right.
And you give people a list of those 9 major economic values, and you say on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being highest, how much do you want all of these things? What are they going to do?
They're going to say 10 for everything.
Yeah, 9s and 10s. Okay?
Right.
People want everything. And if you ask them what they want, in the absence of any compelling reason not to,
right,
they'll say they want everything.
Want to be really cheap and really fabulous and like...
Yeah. No, I remember when I was doing research for new products at P&G, sometimes we would make the mistake of not having people make choices or make trade-offs when we were doing market research. So we would ask people, what they wanted in a dish soap or whatever, and say, well, I want it to clean well and clean quickly, and I want it to smell nice, and I want it to have a lot in a package, and I want it to be 1 cent.
Right.
And if we didn't push them to actually make choices between those things, that really is what people do want. And they really will tell you that they will not be happy unless they have a product that does all of these things at the same time. Now, those people will then exit the research and go to the store and purchase a product that does not do all of those things.
Right.
And they will be perfectly happy. And they won't think twice about it or that that's anything like a contradiction because the environment in which they're making a choice to actually buy something in the store is so different from the way that we were trying to do research. In the research, people didn't have to make choices. So they didn't.
Okay.
Because in a store they had to. They had all of these values. They had a certain amount of money. They had to make trade-offs. They do.
Okay.
And they're fine with it. And so part of the process of getting accurate information is to ask what people want, but to do that in a context that requires them to make trade-offs, requires them to make choices. And a methodology for doing that that is actually not very well known, it's relatively new, it was only developed in the 80s, is a technique called relative importance testing. And the way to think about it is you're conducting research by asking people to make trade-offs. That's really all it is.
Okay.
So, we already, think back to research methodology number 1. All of these things, how much do you want it? Which is, I want it all.
Right.
Relative importance testing is giving them a small set of those things and then asking 2 questions. Of the set of, and usually give them a set of 4 or 5 things. Of these options, which do you want most? And which do you care about least?
So they have to at least give it
They
a value.
have to make a choice.
Okay.
And not everything can be equal. Because in reality, nothing really is equal. They have to make choices.
Okay.
And you give them a set, they make their choices. You give them another set, they make their choices. You do this as long as you can.
Okay.
And usually, somewhere between 20 and 30 sets.
Okay.
Or about 10 minutes. Whichever is shorter.
Before people get super annoyed.
Before people get sick of it. It's like, whatever.
Enough, yeah.
What that allows you to do is when you compile the data, and you can do this manually, give a +1 and a -1 to every option that they pick, either way. Or, this type of research is really, right now, only done in large companies that hire huge research places to do. The mathematics behind doing it really well can get pretty complex, but the methodology is one
simple
of
enough.
It's simple enough, and the wonderful thing is, instead of just the scale of 0 to 10 where people want everything, and there's the thing is, you're looking for areas of contrast here. And the problem with the first methodology is there's zero contrast. Everything's a 9 or a 10. So you can't really tell which one's more important.
True.
With this methodology, relative importance testing, you're asking people to make trade-offs. What's most important and least important. And by doing that, you can get much more of a picture of if people are forced to choose, what are they going to value first?
Yeah.
And what are they not going to value? And the more that you can do that, what that allows you to do, this type of research allows you to figure out, okay, of all of these economic values, which should we focus on improving first?
Got it.
So, in the
You
diner...
can go into your wigwam thing.
Yeah, and the diner example that we used a couple of videos earlier, it allows the diner to say, well,
Nobody
know what?
cares about our decor.
Exactly. And, they can test that as one of the options, and they can look at the results and say, wow, people don't care.
Got it.
But they could find out that if all of their entrees came out in 5 minutes or less,
Right.
that would
Okay.
rock.
So if I am a diner and I'm already working, I can see how I would do this. I would give surveys to my customers. If I'm
Yes.
P&G and I have a research facility, I can see how I would do this. If I am me starting this thing and I don't want to give this survey to my friends or family, then how do I do this?
The best way to do it is actually, you have to be able to identify people in your target market first and have some way of finding them. You can do that online. You can do that in person. And really, what I've noticed with a lot of informal research is that people like to help.
True.
So if you ask them if you know somebody is in this market and you ask them to help, take a couple minutes of their time, people are usually pretty cool about that.
Okay, cool.
So you can do it very simply by doing it manually. Develop a list of different options, have them check and then tabulate the scores yourself. One of the things that I'm working on now is actually an easier way for people to do this, which doesn't exist right now. So I'll let you know when it's available. But it really is, regardless of the methodology or the tool, regardless of what you use, whether it's a $100,000 market research company that does this for you, or you're tabulating scores on a piece of paper manually, the important part is collecting data by having people make real trade-offs.
Okay.
And if you can do that, you get a heck of a lot more resolution in the results, and you can find, relative to each other, what is the importance of all of these different ideas or values that you're testing. And then that allows you to focus on improving the things that are most valuable to the people you're actually serving.
Okay.
And discard the things that really aren't going to move the needle at all.
We'll get your tool done. Then we don't have to do it in person.
I'm working on it.
Oh.